According to NBC's July poll, RFK Jr. isn't doing particularly well in the favorability area. He's plus 11 with Republican voters, but look at this. Minus 18 with independents, minus 38 with Democrats. So I kind of wonder, is there risk to Trump embracing RFK Jr.?
Well, these numbers certainly underscore what the risk is, right? If the whole point of the campaign is to go for independence. Look, if you've been accused of being weird and dangerous, it seems like Trump is doubling down on that. I mean, we've heard RFK Jr. says that Wi-Fi, creates cancer and chemicals in the water make kids gay, and the list goes on of just absolute nuttiness.
Conspiracy theory.
Of course, just absolutely crazy on top of all the things we know about Trump and Willie Brown and, the whole bit about AI and crowds. So somehow, if your target is the suburban swing voter mom, the notion you're going to have two anti-vaxxers making the call at the top of the administration is going to freak you out for your kids. So I don't see that this is a particularly good move for Trump, but it's not the last one, I suspect.
Maura, what do you think of that?
I think that there are a handful of voters who weren't politically active, and we saw that in 2016, which largely contributed to Trump winning. Because he tapped into this fear and this anger and this concern and vulnerability for a population that was never politically active but became politically active. And yes, he largely used conspiracy theories to do that. RFK Jr. is doing the same thing. So there is a small pocket of the population that will find this appealing, but I think on a large scale, it should be concerning because it's not going to reach the independent voters, the moderate voters, the moderate Republicans who aren't happy with the bombastic behavior of Donald Trump or RFK Jr. for that matter. So you're not appealing to them. And quite frankly, Donald Trump doesn't seem to want that portion of the electorate, which he desperately needs to win. And I find that to be a huge mistake, and Republicans down ballot should see that happening and veer away from it.
Guys, I want you to hear what we are hearing from Donald Trump as he is focusing in on this during the final weeks of this campaign.
And our primary focus is not to get out the vote. It's to make sure they don't cheat. Because we have all the votes you need. You can see it. Every house along the way has signs. Trump, 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 Trump fans, Trump fans.
Maura, what do you interpret that as his signal?
Rallies and moments like this make me feel as though he doesn't actually want to win. And I feel this way about the fringes. They use fear and they're louder voices, but they're not speaking for the majority. Donald Trump enjoys complaining. It's so much easier to complain than it is to lead. It is so much easier for him to go back and sit at Mar-a-Lago and play DJ than it is to sit in the White House and endure that grueling schedule. I don't think he actually wants to win. I think he wants to whine and complain and get his MAGA supporters to be rallied around him. This kind of rhetoric and this kind of focus on, I don't really want to get people to come out and vote, I just want to make sure they don't cheat, that's building what happened January 6, 2021 to happen again. He wants to just make sure his supporters are around him no matter what he says and does. And this is honestly, it's a disservice to the Republican Party that could win and has the momentum to do so with policies around economy, safety and security, bring manufacturing back home, but they can't if he's going to keep messaging like this.
Richard, let's talk a little bit about the ground game of both, but for a minute. According to Politico, the Trump campaign, quote, is significantly smaller than it was at this time 4 years ago by several measures, including total spending and personnel. In July 2020, the Trump campaign and the RNC had a combined 800 staffers on payroll. This July, Trump and the RNC have just over 300 staffers. Now, the other side, the Harris campaign and the DNC, has 1,100 staffers already on payroll. Does this tell you anything? Or, in 2015, 2016, Trump did with, unconventional ways.
And I think the disparity is only going to get worse. We've seen this explosion of money, explosion of volunteers since Kamala's been in the race, and I think this is only going to get worse. And there's some suggestion from the press that Trump is outsourcing to some super PACs his field operation, his ground game. Ask Ron DeSantis how that went. It doesn't go well for a variety of reasons, and I think it is an enormous mistake. I kind of believe with Maura, I think he wants to stay out of jail, but it's not quite clear that he actually wants to win.
Why wouldn't he want to win, though?
Why?
It's a lot of work. I mean, I think for him, think back to that time where he didn't get to do all the things he normally likes to do, like sitting at Mar-a-Lago and holding court. He loves rallies. He loves to feel like he's the most important person in the world. And I think watching Joe Biden get taken out by the party, essentially, he's bringing up Biden all the time because he sees the fact that he may not be the top of the party ticket anymore if he doesn't win. And he's worried about that.
Mark Gillespie and Richard Goodsey, thank you so much for being with us this morning.